Matawa First Nations Management Four Rivers Environmental Group. They're at the forefront of this pristine watershed, and they're doing all the preliminary work that, mapping. They're also doing census of wildlife and insects and all that kind of indigenous-led authority of conservation.
Is that Matawa is situated on over 300,000 square kilometers of a watershed. And it's really important to be understanding and sharing with the world that it's an important cultural heritage of the Matawa First Nations, and that preserving and conserving as the Matawa have this watershed is really important to their survival and to the survival of their communities.
So the virtual water gallery kind of was just a mechanism and means to kind of do my part to say how important water protection is, and in the role of First Nations, and it mixes with science and Western science. There's an opportunity to learn from the Indigenous people that have been here for thousands and thousands of years, and that the science knowledge and the traditional knowledge, there's a chance for progress to work together, and it could be integrated together.
This project jumped out at me, and it has been great just getting to listen primarily to Patrick's perspectives and observe his practice and try to integrate to that. But it's really been a gift to get to, try to figure it out.
When approached, I was interested because the subject matter had to do with water and water conservation, water protection, because water and, protecting land and water and all the creatures was something that I learned growing up. From my perspective, it makes sense that you would listen to elders, but not everyone realizes that, what seems obvious to me might not be obvious to let's say the science or engineering community, that our elders have a lot of very important knowledge when it comes to projects and initiatives like water protection.
Bringing the science and the art together in this way, the visual images and the art forms helps to extend that knowledge mobilization to something that can bridge Indigenous understanding with our more limited connection, bring us to that heart place around what is water, why do we have a mutual responsibility, and the importance of not only Matawa's watershed while it's under threat, but for all of us in Canada and around the world.
I think when something like that is successful, I think what happens is that everyone comes out with a richer, deeper understanding of what these issues look like. Artists are able to have more informed representations. There was this powerful symbolism in that, because when I went into this collaboration with you, I was so nervous and scared to take up space. I really wanted your work to be at the fore. And when I received your first piece, that beautiful piece of wood with the water keeper and the geese, and I had to do something with it, I was just it was a big emotional stressful moment. What can I possibly add? First of all, it's wonderful. It says so much on its own, but given that we're here in this space and the goal is to figure out how to integrate perspectives and co-create, I really did strive to do something quite subtle.
Rebecca's work is very flowing and soft. This is my opinion. And mine has I use a lot of black lines, for example, and I noticed Rebecca never has black lines in her art. And I was wondering how that was going to work, and it worked beautifully on the pieces we created. I think it's kind of symbolic of, trying to bring in two worlds together and that they can in fact work.
It's funny that we came up with this word braiding. We landed on that pretty early. And I felt like all I was doing was just like braiding in one more like layer into like the complex web braid that you had already created there on your piece.
OMG, what a terror of a non-Indigenous person painting on top of an Indigenous person's painting. Like, what were we thinking? Rebecca was able to honor the science objective of Matawa Water Futures, which was to listen, to honor Indigenous knowledge, and to integrate those pieces towards the goals of community and the larger academic community without dominating or overshadowing that which was emerging from the Indigenous expertise of the people who live on the land and conserve the water. Patrick and Rebecca met each other in that really special, special place. But some magic happened in that place.
And then with the second piece, I wanted to focus more on having a canvas, for Patrick to put his work onto. So it was a representation of the Matawa watershed, and Patrick added these great bold shapes, which then gave it so much more character. I guess shifting the composition in like a completely bold new direction, which was like fantastic to see.
But I do also appreciate, I should note that Rebecca, the second piece was a discarded piece of wood that we repurposed. Something that would normally have been just discarded. And the collaboration part was also interesting to me, because I don't recall ever collaborating on one piece with anyone. So just the experience of that alone was fun and interesting.
Allowing us to be able collectively represent in a tangible way the possibility of Indigenous and non-Indigenous sciences coming together to support our requirement to understand water and to work going forward, and to show that we can do that not only in the science, but in this particular project through art, which many of us here believe is a powerful, powerful force that is possible for us to think differently, to work differently, and to collaborate and bring good minds and good hearts together around this topic.
The way that we are conducting science and the way that we are learning in these higher education spaces has to change, but there's a lot missing.
So what it means to me is just being able to share an First Nations perspective, but also an introduction to First Nations. We have a stewardship over our land.
We're at a water crisis in the world, and we're having this intervention where we can say to each other, stop, look, and listen to what these paintings and what Indigenous people are telling us through their work, what artists are telling us through their work about water and about water as life and our responsibility to water.